All right, everyone. We've been through all the regions. We're going to finally finish off with the region, leave it to Roy because he gets to gloat a little bit. The region that contains the World Cup champions, CONMEBOL. All things are done in this region. Nothing more to play for here. But Roy, give us the story of this region.
Yeah, it's the region with the best team in the universe, arguably the best team of all the times and space. That is Argentina, with the greatest player in the history of the game, across any game and any sport, the greatest athlete we have ever seen, Mr. Lionel Messi. So, can you say it like that next time, Sahil? Please give this team the respect it deserves. None of this World Cup champion. They are far more than a World Cup champion, just so you know.
Okay. Sorry,
So,
Mr. Argentino over there, in case anyone wasn't
go.
sure about that. But okay, so what happened in this region? What happened? Who impressed and who didn't impress?
Yeah, it's a unique region in that it's done. But there's no more to play for any of the teams. The 6 automatic spots are locked. The playoff spot is locked. It is just at this point a joyful thing to watch because it's beautiful to watch Messi play for team. It's beautiful to see these Latin American teams continue to grow. But we got Argentina in, Ecuador. I'll touch a little bit more about Ecuador. Colombia, Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay. Some of the shocks, and then Bolivia, of course, nabbed the Intercontinental Playoff by beating Brazil at home. That is insanity. We were talking about how maybe it would be Venezuela because Bolivia had a harder route there, but they beat Brazil at home 1-0 in La Paz, one of the highest stadiums. Is it the highest stadium in the world? I think it is.
El Alto.
That's right.
El Alto. Get with the times. Get with the times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very true.
Yeah.
So this region, some big shocks, some themes. We have Paraguay. They're back, man. First time since 2010. They did it in a gritty way. They kept clean sheets. They were knife-edging points late in qualifying. Their clincher came in the September window, where that return alone is a headline in Asunción. So they've been a blast to watch. They're the kind of team that you watch, and let me correct that statement. They weren't a blast to watch, but they're the team you watch and think, that's the last team I would want to get pulled into a group with. Yep. Because they're incredibly difficult to play against. They're structurally and tactically sound. They're super snappy and just biting at your heels and getting the ball off of you within half a second of you touching it. They're impossible to break down. They're just a team that's annoying to play against. They're a tremendous team to play against in that sense. So they could go up against England. They could go up against any team in the world, and I feel they will give them a terribly hard time. So that's something we learned about Paraguay in their first return to the World Cup since 2010. Bolivia is an interesting one in that they seem to only really play well when they were playing in the heavens. That's when they played well. They will not be playing in the heavens come the World Cup.
They will not.
So I am very curious to see. I know they had a couple interesting friendlies recently, but I'm interested to see how they will fare. If it's going to be a blowout situation where they're losing games 4 or 5-0, I wouldn't be shocked because if we think back, our very own USA kind of blew them out in Copa America recently, and this wasn't a good USA team. So curious to see if their inclusion is going to be more of a participation trophy kind of thing, and they bow out with 0 goals and 15 against. We will find out soon enough. But the heartbreaking story is, of course, Venezuela. The collapse of Venezuela in this region was really, really gut-wrenching to see. It's a country that needed a win. It's a country just overall that needed something to be proud of, something to look forward to. And they were within striking distance of history mid-year, but they kept leaking goals down the stretch. They had that 6-3 against Colombia. That was emblematic of this team's path to qualification. In the moments that mattered most, they kind of fell apart, gave up several goals when they didn't need to. So that 6-3 was huge. And Bolivia just stayed composed. They continued to stay consistent in the heavens every time they played there, and they made it. They made it.
Yeah.
So would have been nice to see a Cinderella run from Venezuela. I would have preferred to see Venezuela in the World Cup over Bolivia, just because we're familiar with Bolivia. We see them on paper. We see how they perform outside of El Alto. So it's a difficult one. But the major storyline, Ecuador. That for me
Yeah.
is the biggest one. They started. You guys remember how they started the World Cup qualifying campaign?
Yes.
You
With a
remember
deduction, right? It was a
with a
deduction as well.
3-point deduction.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is massive. With qualifying being, yes, it's long-ish, but 3 points is huge. Look at all these qualifying campaigns across the world. 3 points is everything. That is the
Yeah.
difference between second and fifth in many occasions. So they were docked 3 points to start this tournament and just had 5 goals against in the entire World Cup qualifying campaign. If you compare that to teams around the world, I think they're the team in the world with the least goals against. Fact check me. Do we have our intern still on staff? Are we paying that intern?
It's gone.
Jeez Louise, they're
Sure,
gone.
we'll go with that. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, this
okay.
team's been impressive. I mean, Rahi, you were in Ecuador, right? What's your take on them?
Yeah, I mean, this is it's reflected in the way they play, the culture of the place. It's, you know, I was in the city of Quito, which is a mountain city, right? A very hardworking people. It's a tough environment. It's a tough climate, right? These guys, they're very used to the heights, used to the outdoors. This is a hardworking Ecuadorian national team. It's a team that doesn't take anything for granted. And they play that way, man. There's, you know, Enner Valencia up front who's somehow not as old as you think he might be, continues to score goals for Ecuador, and they're just a pain to play against. It's a really, really difficult Ecuadorian side to play against, and it sets up well when you don't concede goals. You got a real chance to do some damage in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me about this region is if you look at these 3 through 6, they all ended on 28 points, which is the equality, the parity in South America is crazy. It's really these teams, this qualification is so hard. You have to play so many difficult games in so many difficult places. So to come out on top like Argentina did and Ecuador, and it's a real feat. Credit to all these teams, but they all can do damage in the World Cup.
Yeah, they can. And great point about Ecuador here, because this Ecuadorian team, my big question is this. My big question is, should Ecuadorians be worried that the focal point of their attack is a 36? Is he 35, 36-year-old Enner Valencia? Should we be worried with the World Cup being 8 months away that this is the focal point of their attack?
That's a perfect video topic that I think we should do down the line to talk about that. But I think here on all the teams that we've talked about, any final points, guys, on these teams before we end this video here? Any kind of last thoughts on this region?
My last thought is we didn't touch on Argentina. And now that World Cup qualifying is over in this region, we need to start asking the questions of whether this Argentina team is better than the 2022 version. They've qualified, lights out, no problems whatsoever in qualification. They've done so with style, with pizzazz, with extreme domination. But is this a team that could go back to back and win 2 World Cups in a row? The hard thing for me is in 2022, they were far more reliant on Messi's godlike behavior. His ability to create out of nothing, to create out of thin air, to produce magic. He's going to be less capable of doing that. His time in Miami is, I mean, he's still doing it every single game week. He's producing out of nothing in Miami, but World Cup is different from MLS. And the question is, can Messi rise up? And if he can't, can Argentina still dominate?